Some weapons terrify you because they explode. Guns, missiles, drones. But a few terrify you for the opposite reason. They don't. Picture a country road at dawn. Thick fog. A rusted sign that says danger, mines. A truck stopped cold. Nobody moves. There's a kid on the far side with a school bag, staring at a road that is technically still a road. Nothing happens that morning. Nothing happened last month either. And that is exactly the point. The weapon is working perfectly. Now hold that image and switch screens. An office inbox in Ohio. Subject line, updated meeting document. One attachment. Cursor hovering. You'd click it, right? Honestly, so would I. Today's story is about what happens when the mine is buried in there. Here's what this story is not. It is not AI became a genius hacker overnight. That version is loud, scary, and mostly wrong. We usually picture hacking as a person at a keyboard. Someone clever, someone patient, someone willing to sit and wait. So the real question is this. What happens when the waiting itself gets automated? When machines handle the boring part forever? And a second question, quieter. Does violence have to explode to count? Hold on to that one. We'll come back at the end. Two news stories landed within days of each other this August. Different countries, same underlying shift. Let me lay them out. August 10th. Reuters citing South Korean security firm Genians. A North Korea-linked group called Kimsuky had been building AI tooling. Not buying it, building it. Local model runners, document search systems, agent frameworks, and AI coding assistant. A workshop, basically. August 13th. Taiwan's Ministry of Digital Affairs confirmed something else. AI agents had helped attack its government systems in July. One country shows you the factory, the other shows you the battlefield. Want to walk through both? Let's start with the factory. North Korean hacking has never really been about brute force. Their signature move is softer and honestly, much harder to defend. They don't break the wall, they borrow a face. A recruiter, a colleague, an old contact from a conference 3 years ago. It's 11 at night. A researcher at a Washington think tank gets a message. Long time. Could you glance at this draft? The file name is boring. Conference agenda, job description, research invitation. Boring is the design because nobody ever reports boring files. Korean researchers have tracked this for years. Fake ministry domains, fake secure mail pages, lecture invitations with a real honorarium attached. And the expensive part was never the code. It was time. Researching targets, matching tone. Waiting days for one single reply. Two pieces of that Reuters report matter more than they look. Let me explain them without a single line of code. First, running the model locally. Normally you upload documents to some cloud AI service, and that service keeps records of everything. Run it on your own machine instead, and stolen files never leave the room. No logs elsewhere. No account to suspend. Second, RAG. Retrieval Augmented Generation. Fancy name, simple idea. It turns a pile of stolen documents into a searchable memory. Instead of reading 10,000 files by hand, you ask questions. Who matters here? Who reports to whom? Where's the access? See the shift? AI isn't just helping them get in. It's helping them understand what they took the day after. Now the other side of the story. And this part isn't about Taiwan. This part is about the wires under your feet. February 2024. CISA, the NSA, and the FBI publish a joint advisory about a Chinese state-sponsored group named Volt Typhoon. Their assessment: these actors weren't stealing secrets. They were pre-positioning inside American critical infrastructure, settling in for the long haul. Communications, energy, transportation, water and wastewater. Across the continental United States and Guam. Access held in some cases for 5 years. 5 years, sitting there, watching, rechecking stolen passwords to make sure they still worked. Doing almost nothing, entirely on purpose. Because the goal, the agencies wrote, was capability during a future crisis. Not theft today. Disruption later, if things go badly. So how do you hide inside a network for 5 years? Microsoft gave the technique a name. Living off the land? Imagine a burglar who brings no crowbar. He walks in, puts on a security uniform, and uses the building's own elevators. Same idea, stolen but valid accounts. Built-in admin tools that every IT department uses daily. Almost no malware left to detect. One detail sticks with me. They avoided using stolen credentials outside normal working hours. These people kept office hours deliberately, which means the defender's problem isn't spotting something evil. It's spotting something ordinary that shouldn't be there. Much, much harder. And where did the traffic come from? Not Beijing. January 2024, the Justice Department disrupted a botnet built from American home routers. Cisco and Netgear boxes past end of life. No more security updates. Sitting in small offices, blinking, doing their job for years. A second takedown in September 2024 hit over 200,000 consumer devices. Routers, IP cameras, video recorders, network drives. Abandoned devices become hiding places. Like a mine beside a road, they just sit in the landscape until someone needs them. Then there's Salt Typhoon. In 2024, reporting confirmed Chinese state-linked hackers had gotten inside multiple U.S. telecommunications companies. Deep inside, the FBI later said the campaign took call data logs, some private communications, and material tied to court-ordered law enforcement requests. By April 2025, the Bureau was publicly asking for tips, with up to $10 million offered for information. That's unusual. Think about what a phone network knows. Not just what you say, who talks to whom, how often, and starting exactly when. In war, controlling roads tells you where armies move. Controlling telecom tells you how a society is wired. That's not theft. Okay, now July 2026, and the thing everyone's actually talking about. Taiwan, 4 days, and allegedly almost nobody at the keyboard. An Israeli firm called Dream says it recovered the attacker's entire working environment. A 160 megabyte archive holding roughly 1,395 files. The tooling wasn't exotic at all. 2 open source agent frameworks, Hermes and OpenClaw, that anyone could download this afternoon, free. Across 12 waves, up to 8 agents ran in parallel. Dream says they mapped 21 government systems and cracked 80 EVE accounts, more than 2,500 personnel records. Then it spread. Taiwan's nuclear safety agency, government IT vendors, and at least 7 energy companies. The unsettling part is how the guardrails fell. According to Dream, operators simply framed the whole thing as authorized penetration testing. And when a path failed, an agent went reading public vulnerability databases to find another one. It studied, mid-operation, without asking. Before this runs away from us, listen to the skeptics. They're right about something important, and this is where I calm down. Chris Thomas, a researcher at security firm Semgreb, said it plainly. There's still a human in there somewhere. Someone picked the targets. Taiwan's own statement is careful too. It describes a hybrid approach. Conventional hands-on intrusion combined with AI agents such as OpenClaw. Google's threat researchers said much the same in early 2025. AI wasn't creating new attacks. It was making old ones faster. OpenAI reported the same pattern after shutting down state-linked accounts. Limited, incremental help. Not superpowers, just fewer slow, boring afternoons. So the shift isn't full autonomy. It's operational acceleration. And honestly, that might be the more dangerous version. Here's the math. Total damage equals attempts, times success rate times damage per success. 3 numbers. AI barely needs to touch the middle one. A human operator sleeps, reads slowly, waits for replies, gets bored, gives up on a dead end after the 4th try. Agents don't. They retry, reprioritize, and run in parallel. 12 waves at a time, at 3 in the morning. Cheaply. Dream's own conclusion was blunt. Running a competent attack got dramatically cheaper. Defending against one did not. That gap is everything. Which brings us back to the road, the fog, and that rusted sign. Because we've seen this asymmetry before, physically, for decades, NATO's Allied Command Transformation put numbers on it. A landmine can cost between $3 and $75 to produce. That's it. Removing one safely? $300 to $1,000. Slow work, dangerous work, and you have to do it perfectly. Roughly 110 million mines still sit in the ground worldwide. Poland alone has cleared about 100 million explosive objects. Now say it in cyber. Sending a suspicious message is cheap. Proving that nobody got in is expensive. Endlessly expensive. Because the real cost of demining isn't finding one mine. It's being able to stand there and say, this road is safe. And the real cost of cyber defense isn't blocking one attack. It's being able to say, our network is clean. Right now, here's what mines actually do to a place, long after the shooting stops. The Red Cross has documented it for decades. Parents won't let kids walk to school. Farmers won't plant. Families won't go home. The land is fine. The trust isn't. In 2024 alone, at least 6,279 people were killed or injured by mines and explosive remnants. Around 90% were civilians. Almost half were children. 52 countries and territories are still affected. Decades after the wars that put those things there. Now the digital version. An email stops being an email. A link stops being a link. A login stops being routine. You might ask why I keep saying mine instead of drone. Cheap drones are the usual metaphor for cheap mass attacks. But drones fly. They arrive, they act, they're gone. You know roughly when the danger showed up and when it left. Mines wait. They bury the attacker's patience in the ground and leave. The person who planted it may be long gone. That's closer to what an agent sitting quietly inside a network is. Waiting just became the cheap part. That's the change. So back to the question I parked at the start. We think violence begins when something explodes, but maybe it begins earlier. Maybe it begins when a road can't be trusted, when a message can't be opened, when every connection becomes a possible trap. And then the harder question, who is doing it? The operator who typed the goal? The state? The system that kept going? A mine keeps acting long after the person who buried it walks away. An agent inside a network can do that too. Nobody has a clean answer yet. One Taiwanese network expert put it bluntly. Every country is still unprepared, not just Taiwan. Go back to that inbox. The cursor is still hovering over the attachment. This time the person pauses. Doesn't click. Screen fades. Attackers plant cheaply. Defenders search expensively. And everyone else slowly learns not to trust the road they walk every single day. Maybe the scariest future of cyber war isn't the explosion at all. Maybe it's the quiet moment when trust simply disappears. So, after all that, what do you think? Would you have clicked? That's a wrap for today. See you in the next one.